ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।
नमो नमः गुरुजी।
नमो नमः। नमस्ते एवरीवन once again.
नमस्ते गुरु।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
नमस्ते। So we are seeing the 11th mantra. All of you ready for chanting?
Yes, Guru.
Yes.
Yes महोदय।
तपश्रद्धे
तपश्रद्धे
ये
ये
ह्युपवसन्त्यरण्ये
व्युपवसन्त्यरण्ये
शान्ताः
शान्ताः
विद्वांसः
विद्वांसः
वैक्ष्यचर्यां चरन्तः
वैक्ष्यचर्यां चरन्तः
सूर्यद्वारेण
सूर्यद्वारेण
ते विरजाः प्रयान्ति यत्रामृतः सः पुरुषः अव्ययात्मा। Now we'll also read the Bhashyam of the second line. Suryadvarena Suryopalakshitena Uttarayanena Patha ते विरजाः विरजसः क्षीणपुण्यपापकर्माणः सन्तः इत्यर्थः। प्रयान्ति प्रकर्षेण यान्ति यत्र यस्मिन् सत्यलोकादौ अमृतः सः पुरुषः प्रथमजः हिरण्यगर्भः
प्रथमजः
हिरण्यगर्भः
हिरण्यगर्भः
अव्ययात्मा
अव्ययात्मा
अव्ययस्वभावः
अव्ययस्वभावः
यावत् संसारस्थायी
यावत् संसारस्थायी
एतदन्तास्तु
एतदन्तास्तु
संसारगतयः
संसारगतयः
अपरविद्यागम्याः.
अपरविद्यागम्याः.
Very good. So we are discussing this 11th mantra of the second section of the first Mundaka, where the Upanishad is presenting the status of Upasana being a moksha sadhana. In the previous mantras, the Upanishad had dealt with the status of karmas and karmis in this respect. And in the last class, we completed the word meanings of the mantra, and also we entered the bhashya. So here the situation of a upasaka, a meditator, is presented. As we saw, upasana or meditation can be done by a grihastha, a vanaprastha, and also in some cases by sannyasis. The difference would be, for a grihastha, karma would be pradhanam and upasana will be secondary. For a vanaprastha, upasana will be pradhanam and karma will be secondary. For a sannyasi, jnana yoga will be pradhanam and upasana will be secondary. Of course, sannyasi will also be required to perform some minimal karmas, which are ordained for certain types of sannyasis, which I told you in the last class. Now, this mantra mainly focuses on a vanaprasthi or a vani who carries out the vihita karmas for vanaprastha, but primarily he engages himself in meditation on Saguna Brahman. And since such a person is required to completely withdraw from an active life of a grihastha, including having an active kitchen, the lifestyle of such a person is described as living in a forest, surviving on alms, that is bhiksha, etc., while engaging in the primary activity of upasana. And in many aspects, the lifestyle of such a bani is also common for sannyasis. Then the Upanishad goes on to present the upasana phalam for such a meditator. It says that such a successful meditator will travel to Brahma Loka through Surya Dwarena, the solar path, which Bhashyakara explained as Uttarayanena, means by or through the northern path, which is indicated by the sun. Now, what is the meaning of the word Uttarayana? Uttarayana generally refers to the period of about 6 months where the sun is moving towards the northern side. Actually, the sun does not move. It is the Earth's orbital path which makes it appear that the sun is moving towards north. It starts from, I think, 14, 15 January and remains for 6 months. And that period is generally called Uttarayana. But here, it is not the time period that is referred to. As we have discussed earlier also, here the devatas who are presiding over this Uttarayana period are referred to. The solar path. The devatas who are presiding over the solar path are referred to. And those devatas will be guiding this upasaka. They are all lined up on the way to guide this Brahmaloka traveler. And therefore, this path is called Uttarayana. So, Bhashyakara says, Uttarayanena Patha. Patha means path, presided over by the devatas who are presiding over this Uttarayana period. In fact, Gita students will recall that this topic of Uttarayana we have already discussed in detail some time ago in the Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter. In the Gita, Bhagavan Krishna talks about two paths. Shukla Marga, the brighter path, which is referred to in this mantra as Surya Dwarena Uttarayanena. This is a VIP highway in which only Upasakas talked about in this mantra can travel to reach Brahmaloka, where of course they will get Atma Jnanam from Brahmaji himself and attain moksha. And as we saw, this type of moksha is called Krama Mukti. And once the Upasaka has got Krama Mukti, he will be out of samsara. He or she will not be born again. And the other path is called Dakshinayanam or Krishna Marga, darker path, through which a Kevala Karmi, the one who has done all the Vihita Karmas properly, but has not engaged himself in Upasana, he travels to Swarga Loka or heaven. Because of the karmas performed, that person would have earned a lot of punya, which makes him eligible for a stint of life in Swargaloka. So that person will travel by Krishna Marga and reach Swargaloka, where there will be pleasures, all right, but enjoying the pleasures, rather after enjoying the pleasures, when the punya gets exhausted, this karmi has to come back to Bhuloka or even a lower loka. This person may also be born in a lower yoni, depending upon the next set of prarabdha which will be maturing. The Uttarayana is talked about in the Gita in the following sloka. Agnir Jyotirrah Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Janah. And the important point that we have to note here is that, contrary to the popular thinking and belief and understanding, we should not think that a person dying in the Uttarayana period will be eligible for traveling by Shukla Marga. This is the most misconceived idea which most people have, especially when the Mahabharata says that Bhishma Acharya, who was fatally wounded in the Kurukshetra war, waited for Uttarayana to leave his body. So people think that it is a great thing to die in Uttarayana. That's a wrong understanding. Which path one takes after death is not determined by the time of death. It is purely determined by the kind of life he or she has led. That is, whether the person has engaged only in karmas or he or she has also done upasana. And therefore, quite contrary to the popular belief, the time of death does not determine whether a person will take the Shukla Marga or Krishna Marga. And this is a very important point to be noted, so that at least as mumukshus, as Vedanta practitioners, we don't have any misconceived notion with regard to what happens after death. Let other people believe whatever they want to believe. We don't need to correct them also. But so far as we are concerned, we must understand this very, very important thing. Because most of the times, when somebody dies and you go to their house, the priest and all will say, oh, it's a very good death. He has died in Uttarayana period and he will go to Swarga and all that. They have absolutely no clue what they talk about. Most of the time, they will tell all these things in order to just, console the families. All that. Because obviously, death of a person for an Agyani is a very, very, disturbing and distressing event. Rather. Okay, now you may have a question. What will happen if a person has neither done karma nor upasana? Very large, because such a kind of situation is obtaining today. Majority of the people are neither engaged in karma nor in upasana. Karma means I am talking about Vedic karmas. Here also, it is Vaidika karmas which are talked about, not Laukika karmas. Of course, the simple answer is that person, that jiva, will not travel to any higher loka, but may remain in bhuloka itself, or may even go to lower lokas. But it is not possible that one leads a life without doing any karma. One may not be engaged in rituals, all right, but one may be engaged in purta karmas, reaching out karmas. We have seen ishta purtam manyamana, which will also give him or her some punyam. So depending on that punyam, whatever loka, whatever next birth he gets, that will be determined by that. Anyway, this is not the topic for discussion here. I just mentioned it so that if someone has this doubt, let it be put to rest. Now coming back to our discussions on the Bhashyam. So one of the meanings of the reference to Uttarayana here is to Uttarayana Devatas. And as Krishna mentions in the Gita, there are 4 more Devatas who guide the traveler through the Surya Dwarena, that is through Shukla Marga. Who are those Devatas? We have seen in the Gita, Agni Devata, Jyoti Devata, Ahaha Devata and Shukla Devata. So we have to note that one of those Devatas presiding over the Uttarayana period is called Uttarayana. And these Devatas, they are different parts of the journey, different parts of the route, they will be presiding. So at any given point in time, this jiva who is actually traveling to Brahmaloka will be taken care of by one of these Devatas. Like a relay race, the previous Devata will hand over to the next Devata. And there is another meaning for the word Uttarayana, which I said is a 6 months period when the sun travels towards north. Now, that is a general meaning by Uttarayana. So 2 meanings are there, and here in the context, we must take the meaning appropriately. So we have to be careful what is meant by Surya Dwarena, Uttarayana, who is eligible to travel. Then Te Virajaha is in the Moolam. Bhashyakara says Virajasaha Kshina Punya Papa Karmanaha Santaha Ityartaha. So these Upasakas going to Brahmaloka through the northern path, Uttarayana, which is indicated by the sun, before starting their journey, they are supposed to be Virajaha. And as I explained earlier, Virajaha is Chandasa Prayoga. Arsha Prayogam. The regular grammatical usage will be Virajasaha. So Bhashyakara changes Virajaha to Virajasaha, which literally means free from impurities. Here the Rajas means dirt or impurity. It doesn't refer to Rajoguna. Rajas means dirt or impurities. Therefore, Virajasaha means people free from impurities. And what are the impurities? Bhashyakara says, Kshina Punya Papa Karmanaha Santaha. Santaha means being. Kshina Punya Papa Karmanaha. They are free from all the Punya Papa Karmas. Which means they are almost free from all Papa Karmas. They have got only Punyam. Because Punyam is required just to take them to Brahmaloka. If they are free from Punya Papa Karma, then they will be Jnanis. But that stage they have not yet reached. Papa Karmas they don't have. The Papa Karmas therefore will not act as any obstacle for their Brahmaloka travel. Punyam is required to take them to Brahmaloka and then thereafter for Kramamukti. So freed from all impurities, iti arthaha. Therefore, when a upasaka dies, he is extremely pure. Even though, as I said, he is not as pure as a jnani. Next to jnani, the purest one is this upasaka. So they prayanti. Bhashyakara says prayanti is equal to prakarshena yanti. So being rid of their papa karmas, they clearly, without any obstacle, conveniently, comfortably, they travel. And travel is comfort is a very important thing in travel. Because travel itself causes a lot of stress in people. Especially when the older you get, long distance travels, sitting in the flight for maybe 10, 20 hours, or even train travel, 2 days, 18 hours, 20 hours, is not very easy. It is very distressing. And that's why, when some guest comes to our place after traveling, we will ask the guest the first question, what was your journey comfortable? And that is because we want, affirmation that it was a relatively comfortable journey. There was no obstacles or discomforts, etc. on the way. And that's why, when people are traveling, we wish them what? We say, may you have a safe and comfortable and pleasant journey, etc. So these upasakas travel to Brahmaloka comfortably. It is a pleasant journey guided by all the devatas of the Surya Marga. So they go to Brahmaloka. Yatra is there in the Moolam. Bhashyakara says, Yasmin, in which Satyalokadau, Satyaloka Adi, that is Satyaloka, etc. Now again, there could be a doubt. When the Upanishad does not say Satyaloka, etc., why is Bhashyakara adding this etc.? For that, one commentator says that it is not necessary that in all cases the Upasaka should go to the ultimate loka, which is Brahma Loka or Satya Loka. Depending upon the quality of the Upasana done, whether it is done with karma or without karma, whether karma was predominant and upasana was secondary, or vice versa, the jiva could land up in a slightly lower loka, like mahar loka, jana loka, tapal loka, etc., which are above sarga loka, which is suar loka, to which kevala karmis go. Therefore, since the specification given by the Upanishad refers to Brahma Loka or Satya Loka alone, Bhashyakara wants to highlight that these Upasakas who are being talked about will land in Brahma Loka or Satya Loka only and not in any lower lokas. Rather, not that way. I think I've said it other way. They will land in Brahma Loka, all right, but there is a possibility that depending upon the quality of the upasana, they may land in any of the lower lokas also. Lower lokas means above Swargam, but below Brahma Loka. There are 3 lokas there, no? Now, what will happen there if they go to those lokas? Shine Punye Matya Lokam Vishanti. They'll have to come back, do all the upasana all again, once again, then again try to go to Brahma Loka. So therefore, the upasaka should be very careful that in the first shot itself he wants to go to Brahma Loka, the upasana should be done perfectly. Meditation on Saguna Brahma should be of a very high quality. Then Amrita Saha Purusha is there in the Moolam. Bhashyakara comments as Pratamajaha Hiranyagarbha. Pratamajaha means what? Firstborn. And who is that? We have to go back to the very first mantra of the Upanishad. Om Brahma Devana Pratamas Sambhabhuva. So Hiranyagarbha is the first Devata product out of Ishvara. First Devata product as a human. And therefore, Hiranyagarbha is also known as Pratamajaha. In fact, Shvetashvatara Upanishad also says, Yo Brahmanam Vidathati Purvam, Yo Vai Vedamscha Prahinoti Tasmai. So Ishvara first created Brahmaji, the Chaturmukha Brahmaji, the Srishtikarta, and delegated the job of creating this world. And not only that, since the world will require proper governance, dharmic governance, the Lord taught Brahmaji the Vedas, which signifies the law and order system or the cosmic order. Now it appears that having used the word Pratamajaha, Bhashyakara feels a little bit disturbed. Because Pratamajaha means the one who is firstborn. Now, firstborn or lastborn, the fact remains that he is born. Where Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So one who has taken birth is sure to die. So Hiranyagarbha being Pratamajaha can never be immortal. Now the question is, the Upanishad is saying Avyayatma. Avyaya means Amrita hai, Nitya hai, Nasha Rahita hai. How can the Upanishad say that because saying that he is born, and then to go on to say that he is immortal, it jars, it is unconvincing rather. Therefore, Bhashyakara, he will not let down the Upanishad. He defends the Upanishad. He justifies the Upanishad by first saying, He Avyayatma, which is there in the Moolam, means Avyaya Swabhavaha, whose nature is eternal, who is immortal, who is deathless. Then he goes on to explain what he meant by Avyaya Swabhavaha. He says, Yavat Samsara Sthayi, the one who lives as long as the world exists. See, this is the beauty, the brilliance of Bhashyakara. He knows that the students who are actually learning this Upanishad, the mumukshus, are all brilliant people. Any small mistake they will immediately catch. More than the students, the Purva Pakshis are waiting. And therefore, he says, Yavat Samsara Sthayi, the one who lives as long as the world exists. So it is a qualified Amritatvam or qualified immortality. So unlike the other ordinary jivas, who will be born and die numerous times during one kalpa, Hiranyagarbha or Brahmaji will live till pralayam comes, till the end of the kalpa. So only during pralayam he resolves. Hiranyagarbha lives for one whole Srishti cycle. 2000 yugas is one day of Brahmaji. We have seen these calculations earlier. 2000 yugas is one day of Brahmaji. And it is said Brahmaji lives for 100 years. So you can calculate the lifetime of Brahmaji. But that is also a finite only. Whatever be the length of the time, it is finite only. Therefore, he is figuratively said as immortal. So, Bhashyakara says, Yavat samsara tishtati iti. Yavat samsara sthayi. Sthayi means surviving. Yavat samsara means as long as the universe is there, Hiranyagarbha exists. Now, Bhashyakara adds a note. He says, no doubt, Hiranyagarbha is almost immortal. Hiranyagarbha's loka is Brahma loka. But this also comes within samsara only. Upanishad does not touch upon this point. But Bhashyakara, he adds this note. So he says, Etad antah tu samsara gatayah aparavidya gamyah. All these goals, etad antah, up to these goals. Goal mean what? Brahma loka or Hiranyagarbha padam. So etad means Hiranyagarbha padam. All the goals up to Hiranyagarbha goal, that means a goal of going to Swargaloka, goal of going to other lower lokas, and eventually going to Brahmaloka. All these goals up to and including the Satyaloka or Brahmaloka or Aparavidya Gamya hai. They can be accomplished through Aparavidya. Gamya means accomplishable, reachable, attainable through Aparavidya. And why he uses the word Aparavidya? Because he wants to include both karma and upasana. Swarga is a goal which is karma rupa aparavidya gamyam. Brahmaloka is the goal, Upasana Rupa Paravidya Gamyam. So Karma Gamyam, Upasana Gamyam, all of them will come under one bracket. They will all have only one tag or label. What is that? Samsara Gataya. They all fall within samsara. The very word Gatihi means attained goal. So he uses the word to signify that whatever is attained, even if Brahmaloka is attained, falls within time and space only. So the word Gati means that which is reached later in time or further in space. Reached either future time or future distance is involved. Therefore, they are all what? Parichinna. Gati parichinna. The goal itself is limited by time and space. And therefore, none of them can be eternal. Now, what about Kailasa? If you travel and reach, it is within time and space. Therefore, it is limited, mortal. What about Vaikuntha Loka? Same case, no way out. Are you traveling and reaching? Then it is finite. What about Swarga? Are you reaching? Finite. Anything attained through karma and upasana is mortal within samsara. But there are some people who do not accept this. And therefore, Bhashyakara incidentally refutes those Purva Pakshis. Because there are some philosophers who believe that heaven is eternal. There are some others who believe Brahmaloka is eternal. There are some philosophers who believe Vaikuntha Loka is eternal. Bhashyakara says all of them are illogical. So now that is going to be an aside topic which Bhashyakara takes up. Nothing to do with the mantra. Mantra, Bhashyam is over. Now the objection raised by the Purva Pakshis which Bhashyakara quotes. So we will read. Purva Pakshaha
पूर्वपक्षः
पूर्वपक्षः
Nanu
ननु
ननु
Etam
एतं
एतन्
Mokshamicchanti
मोक्षमिच्छन्ति
मोक्षमिच्छन्ति
Kechit.
केचित्
केचित्
So as we have seen earlier, Nanu means generally an objection. As we say, polished manner. I beg to differ. Why objection? Because in the previous sentence, it was said that attainment of this Hiranyagarbha Padam or Hiranyagarbha Loka is the last limit of samsara. So all the samsara travel will have their culmination, will have their highest limit in the attainment of Hiranyagarbha, which means Hiranyagarbha is also, a Brahmaloka is also within the fold of samsara. And for this conclusion, there is an objection. The Purva Pakshi asks, how can you put Brahmaloka Prapti or Hiranyagarbha Padam Prapti as part of samsara? You should take that itself as moksha. And therefore, Nanu, I object to what you are saying. Yetam kechit mokshamicchanti. Kechit means some people. Icchanti. Here icchanti is in the sense of consider. Not desire. Consider. So some people consider etam, this. This refers to Brahmaloka Prapti, moksham. So some people consider Brahmaloka Prapti itself as moksha. They claim and accept the Brahmaloka Prapti as moksha. And if you say it is a mistake, why do they commit this mistake? Even if it is a mistake, it seems to be a legitimate mistake. Because there are two types of mistakes. One is legitimate mistake and another is illegitimate mistake. And why do these people commit this mistake of taking Brahmaloka Prapti itself as moksha? Because the word used by the words used by the Upanishad, Yatra Amritaha Avyayatma Purushaha. Upanishad itself is using the word Amritaha and Avyayatma. Both means immortality or eternity. And this is not only in Mundaka Upanishad. In other Upanishads also, such expressions are there. That is why, in Brahma Sutra, we have a very, very elaborate discussion on this topic. In Kathopanishad, it says, if a person travels through Shukla Marga, he attains moksha. And it is said in Bhagavad Gita also, which says there are two margas, Shukla Marga, Krishna Marga. The one who goes through Krishna Marga will return back, but the one who goes to Shukla Marga, he does not return. In fact, that is the last sutra in Brahma Sutra. So clearly, the scriptures at various points say that Shukla Marga takes one to immortality. So the Purva Pakshi is asking Bhashyakara, why can't you take this itself as moksha? And they say, what will be the advantage of that? Advantage will be, through Upasana itself, one can attain moksha. And in fact, this is the claim of Visishta Advaitins. Visishta Advaitins clearly say Upasana gives moksha. And for them, moksha is achieved by traveling through Shukla Marga. And that's why, we find in Vaishnava temples on Vaikuntha Ekadashi, a door called Parampada Vasal or Swarga Vasal, door to Swarga, is opened. That door represents the Shukla Marga, which will take the Upasaka to moksha. And in Taittiriya Upanishad also there is a sentence, Brahma vid apnoti param. Bhagavad Gita we saw 8th chapter, which talks about Uttarayanam and travel to Brahmaloka. And in Gita, Bhashyakara interprets the word Brahma Vidaha as Upasaka. See, Visishta Advaitins have got so much material in their favor and they are flinging all this material against Bhashyakara. They say in Bhagavad Gita Bhashyam, you said Brahma Vidaha means Upasaka. But here you are giving a different interpretation altogether. Therefore, they question Bhashyakara. Have you thought about this? Brahma upasakaha Shukla Marga Dvara Moksham Apnoti. Have you ever thought about this interpretation? And therefore, their contention seems to be very powerful. Seems to have a lot of weight. In fact, this is what happens in Manana. Once you have completed Shravanam, when you come to Mananam stage, what you should do? You should study some other philosophies. And when you study other philosophies like Visishta, Advaitam, etc., very convincing. It will be very convincing. You will feel that the Vedanta Shravanam which I have done, the Upanishads and all, maybe something is wrong in that in interpretation. And that is the time when doubts about Vedanta Shravanam should come in your mind. And then you should get into further research, further clarification. Bring all these things together and then apply your intellect, which seems to be more appropriate from the point of view of what the Upanishads want to convey. What is the overall message of the Upanishad? What view other Acharyas have taken? Read Brahma Sutra Bhashyam of Bhashyakara. Study Brahma Sutra Bhashyam of Ramanujacharya. All these, this exercise are all part of Mananam. Because at the end of the Mananam, you must not have any doubt in your mind about what knowledge you have gained through Shravanam. Nishamshaya knowledge you must have. And therefore, here, Bhashyakara is introducing that Mananam aspect, one aspect of Mananam. And in fact, if you look around, many other religions also have the same idea. What is moksha? They say, attainment of heaven is moksha. They give different names. If you ask the people who are practicing those religions, some will say you go to Jannat, that is freedom. Some will say you go to heaven and we will dine with God, etc. That is moksha. That is freedom from this world. And they will say considering anything else as moksha is illogical. But that is not accepted by Siddhanti, by a Vedanti. The attainment of a particular loka is not considered to be moksha. And therefore, Bhashyakara feels that this objection needs to be addressed appropriately. He gives a very detailed answer, which we will read. Already unmute yourself.
Yes.
Na. What happened?
Na.
Na.
Na
Ihaiva sarve
Ihaiva sarve
sarve
praviliyanti kamaha.
praviliyanti kamaha.
kamaha.
This is a mantra, Mundaka 3.2.2 mantra. Then, te sarvagam sarvatah prapya dhiraha.
Te
Te
sarvagam
sarvagam sarvatah
prapyate
iraha.
Yuktatmanaha.
yuktatmanah
Manaha
Sarvameva vishanti.
sarvameva vishanti.
Vishanti
This is another mantra 3.2.5 in Mundakopanishad. Ityadi shrutibhyah
Ityadi
Adi
shrutibhyah
aprakaranacha
Aparanacha
aparavidya prakarane
aparavidya
Aparavidya
prakarane
ki
hi
pravritte nahi
pravritte
Pravartite nahi
akasmat
akasmat
Tasmat
moksha prasangosti
moksha
moksha
prasangosti
prasangosti
virajastvam tu apekshikam
virajasantu
apekshikam
apekshikam
samastam aparavidya karyam
समस्तम् अपरविद्याकार्यम्
Paravidyakaham
साध्य साधन लक्षणम
साध्यसाधनलक्षणम्
sadhya lakshanam
क्रियाकारक फलभेद भिन्नम
क्रियाकारकफलभेदभिन्नम्
nityam
द्वैतम
द्वैतम्
dvaitam
एतावदेव यद्
एतावदेव
ekayat
हिरण्यगर्भ प्राप्त्यवसानम
हिरण्यगर्भप्राप्त्यवसानम्
तथा च
तथा च
मनुनोक्तम
मनुनोक्तम्
manunoktam
स्थावराद्याम
स्थावराद्याम्
स्थावराद्याम्
संसार गतिम
संसारगतिम्
samsaragatim
अनुक्रामता
अनुक्रामता
ramata
ब्रह्मा विश्वसृज सृजः
ब्रह्मा
विश्वसृजः
sujaha
धर्मः
धर्मः
dharmaha
महानव्यक्तमेव च
महानव्यक्तमेव च
उत्तमाम्
उत्तमाम्
uttamam
सात्विकीमेताम्
सात्विकीमेताम्
etam
गतिमाहुर्मनीषिणः
गतिमाहुर्मनीषिणः
This is from Manusmriti. Iti. So here Bhashyakara tackles the objection from a scriptural perspective. The gist of what he says, first I will tell you, then we will see the Bhashyam in detail. He says that considering Brahmaloka Prapti as moksha is illogical and it is not supported by scripture also. Bhashyakara doesn't talk about the logical defect in this context, but that also we can add before discussing Bhashyakara's samadhanam or response. Now, what is the logical response? Moksha is defined as immortality. Immortality means not limited by time. And that means not limited by space also. So immortality means what? Infinitude. Therefore, if a person has to attain immortality, he has to attain infinitude. That means he should merge with something infinite, or he should become one with something which is infinite. And that means the Jivatma should merge with something which is infinite. And you can't say something because there is only one thing which is infinite. And we all know what is that. We all know that only Ishvara is infinite. And therefore, one should become one with infinite. Become one with the infinite Ishvara to become infinite. Therefore, moksha or immortality is Ishvara Prapti only. This is the first stage. Now we inquire into what is the nature of this infinite Ishvara. We know that the Ishvara is all pervading. That means, as we have seen, Ishvara being the Karanam, the cause of the universe, he is Vishnu. And Vishnu here does not mean Mahavishnu Bhagavan. Here Vishnu is derived from the verbal root Vish Vyapane. Vyapane means all pervading. It's a different matter that the word Vishnu Bhagavan also, that Vishnu is also derived from this same Vish Dhatu only. And there also Vishnu means all pervading only. So when we are looking at Vishnu Bhagavan, we can look at Vishnu Bhagavan in two ways. one as Vishnu Bhagavan, that Chaturbhuja and all that as described in Vishnu Sahasranama. The other one is we can look at Vishnu Bhagavan as Jagat Karanam, all pervading Jagat Karanam Ishvara. And if we are looking at Vishnu as Ishvara, as the all pervading, and since the cause inheres in the effects, and since the entire universe is the effect, Ishvara pervades each and every living and non-living being in the universe. So Ishvara inheres in you and in me and in everything. That being the case, what is the distance that I have to cover to reach that Ishvara, to become one with Ishvara? Is there any travel necessary at all? Do I need to travel to Kailasa, Vaikunta, etc. to reach that all-pervading Ishvara? No doubt that all-pervading Ishvara pervades Kailasa, Vaikunta also. But is it necessary for me to travel to those places to merge with Ishvara? All these are relevant questions which should arise in our intellect, and we should logically find answers to these questions. And when we read the Puranas, we get lots of clues to answer such questions. For example, take the story of Prahalada and Hiranyakashipu, his demonic father, in Bhagavata Purana, in the context of Narasimha Avatara. When Hiranyakashipu challenges Prahlada to show him the place where Narayana exists. And Prahlada's simple answer is, Narayana exists everywhere. He adds that Narayana exists in every dust particle and every pillar, even in this, in this palace room where we are talking. And that is when Hiranyakashipu orders his soldiers to destroy a pillar in the palace. And out comes Narayana in this Narasimha Avatara form. So if we have understood this part of Purana, we must also logically understand that Ishvara is all pervading. Once we understand that, do we still believe that we have to travel to some other place to become one with Ishvara? Of course, this is a rhetorical question. The answer is obvious. So if Vishnu is all pervading, Vishnu is here and now, and therefore travel is not required, and therefore travel after death is not required, and therefore even death is not required to become one with Vishnu. We are already one with Vishnu. Because of our ajnanam, because of our avidya, we don't know it. So what is Brahma Vidya? What is moksha? Moksha is only this avidya nirvartakam. Just to remove this ignorance, the entire Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, sadhanas are only the wind, the strong wind that blows to remove the cloud of ignorance, which till now has been covering the self-effulgent sun. Once the cloud is removed, I will automatically realize that I am a moksha purusha, I am already mukta. It was because of my ignorance that I was taking myself to a samsari. Once that knowledge comes, we can attain moksha here and now by merging into the infinite, or understanding that we are already one with the infinite. Realizing that I was never away from Ishvara, that is called merger. Understanding that there is no distance or difference between me and Ishvara is what is called realization. And since that Ishvara is Purnaha, assimilating the fact that I am Purnaha is what is moksha. This is the logical answer to the objection of the Purva Pakshi. And as I said, Bhashyakara, of course, doesn't resort to this logic. He gives Shruti Pramanam. And what answer Bhashyakara is giving based on the Shruti, we will discuss in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavada everyone. Thank you very much.
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very well explained, Guruji. It was something marvelous.
All those who have explained to me are sitting behind me.
Yeah, Bhagavan. But
Thank you, Guruji.
very
Hari
well.
Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Very
Hari
well.
Om.
Hari Om.
Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? No, hands are going up, of course.
Guruji, can you just explain Kramamukti?
You want me to explain Krama Mukti? Krama Mukti means getting moksha in stages.
Oh,
So first you don't get moksha here in Bhuloka. You go to Brahmaloka, do Shravanam Mananam Nididhyasanam under the tutelage of Brahmaji
okay.
and get moksha. That is Krama
Oh.
Mukti.
Okay. Okay.
There are two types of Sadhyo Mukti is moksha here and now. Krama
Okay.
Mukti is moksha after going to Brahmaloka.
Great. Okay. Okay. Clear. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you all very much. I think we can close because nobody is asking any questions. We'll meet next week. Okay, Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.